Hello everyone, my name is Eostrix and welcome to Pink Noise. This is a game that I found on Kickstarter that had, I think, a successful run. Yeah, I did manage to get the support, but I believe that Kickstarter kind of screwed them over, but alas, they did end up releasing the game. So here we are. Let's get into it. Act 1, Along Shady Alleys. This looks so fucking cool too. I was very excited when I saw this. It's like 20% when I had it. Fall comes to Riverwood with chilling winds and the first drizzle. A bleak mist obscures the narrow streets, clinging to the rooftops, tangling in the bushes, and swirling around fields. Fog and murky blackness suit the peculiar suburb, nestled amid the forests and mountains. It's a decaying, quiet place waiting for winter. As the evening wears on, the town is wrapped in thickening twilight, with only a few streetlights serving as solitary islands of illumination in an ocean of darkness. On one such evening, ordinary and cold, 4 teenagers are strolling around an old park, engrossed in lively discussion. First fallen leaves rustle underfoot as the wind reaches the trees, their branches groan out a long, plaintive creak, as if already lamenting the loss of their motley attire. 2 of the teenagers, a tall boy and a fair-haired girl, walk hand in hand. Their friend carefully hops from one paved slab to the next, balancing as though a bottomless chasm might yawn open beneath them. Quiet, stooping boy in glasses trails behind them, casting glances at the road. Ahead, the street splits in two, then veers sharply out towards wasteland. Just a half-century before, a tiny school stood there. Not only a barely discernible foundation and heaps of broken bricks choked by stubborn vines remained to remind them of its erstwhile existence. Year by year, students have taken that path, carrying with them their thoughts and fears, high hopes and grand dreams, from tough exams and first crushes to bullies, bonks in the head, or simply yearning to be the star player of a local team. Be it aglow in autumn gold, cloaked in verdant summer green, or blanketed beneath snowdrifts, Riverwood will never forget them, just as they'll never forget their town and its secrets. The older a place grows, the more mysteries it keeps locked away. One of the girls leaps into the distorted blur of light cast by an old street lamp.
Ain't gonna catch me.
Oh, cool. Alright. I had to say this one. It wipes shadowy webs off her cardigan. Gossamer threads only she can perceive. She glances at the overgrown bushes which have long since forgotten the tender care of gardening shoes.
No chow time tonight, besties.
She said besties, but it says beasties. Is that intentional? The other girl scoffs at her friend's silly gestures.
If Brian was as agile as you, we wouldn't have been stuck in school after dark. The chemistry room's never been so tidy.
She wriggles her fingers to demonstrate, her palms red and wrinkled from the hot water.
It's not my fault Mrs. Hopstone didn't save enough teeth to avoid spitting and lisping. Besides, she should have explained it better. The bottle must have been left open. Was there like a failed chemistry thing happening?
Actually, she explained just fine, but you still put 3 chlorine tablets in the rubbing alcohol instead of 1. Surprise, surprise, the reaction was extreme.
I guess the limiting factor changed from one to another.
Yeah, that bang was something else. My left ear's still ringing.
Ava stops, hovering in a faint halo of light and nods. She's never been reprimanded at school before today. Sure, she would have been way more upset if it hadn't been Brian's fault, but still. Just another adventure, something her and her friends will laugh about one day, and a happy memory is worth more than any reprimand. Especially when her parents will probably forget about it by tomorrow.
Alright, alright.
He raises his hands apologetically.
Next time we team up, I won't let you down. I'll put in 2 chlorine tablets.
You know, good compromise. The group passes a row of houses as dissimilar to one another as is ever possible in a suburb. The time-worn house's windows glow faintly in sepia tones, so the light itself has aged and can no longer disperse the deepening darkness. Buildings they pass seem to be contending for the greatest neglect. Every other resident will be considered an eccentric in any other town. For instance, Greybone has leaned on the rusty mower on his front stoop instead of a cane for 2 decades. The abandoned complex across the road still bears the scars of long-forgotten fire. Its windows are boarded up, Even during the day, it is a miserable look. The teens keep their distance.
Oh, Miss Harvitz's house.
Looks like she has plenty of cats. Or at least, yeah, knitted. The gloomy old lady has knitted yet another pear-shaped cat and proudly displayed it on the terrace, expanding her ugly army.
Right. You had a cup of tea together. Did baby Tony apologize?
Baby Tony. Why can't I hide this? Oh, that's neat. How do I bring it back? Oh. Once Ava's brother had flinched one of the cats and taken it home. Neither of their parents had called any attention to it, so she'd had to explain herself that taking other people's belongings without permission was wrong.
No, I was the one to apologize. Miss Harvitz didn't say a word. She only gave us a cold stare and sniffed loudly. She scared poor Tony so much that he couldn't fall asleep for half a night.
No yelling, no nothing. All she did was just... I can see how that'd be a little threatening.
You have such a giving heart when it comes to your brother. You might be raising a hell of a night. Why in the world would he want to snatch a cat, though?
Because they're funny looking.
He was just a little kid. He came, he saw, he took it home.
No, he didn't conquer, he just took. There's no need to tell her friend that Tony had intended to give Ava the cat. He knew she wanted a pet more than anything in the world. He thought he could cheer her up with at least a toy one. He'd never taken anything that didn't belong to him before, and out of fear of getting caught or punished, he simply found stealing shameful. Tony would sooner give away his breakfast than steal something from someone weaker than him. No doubt that kind of attitude will make school harder for him, but such is his nature. Contemplating her brother's heart of gold, Ava smiled softly. Is it the one on the stoop? Passed by Miss Harvitz's terrace, curiously eyeing her odd dolls. Twilight makes the cat's silhouettes look eerie. Their pearl button eyes glimmer in the fading light as if they know secrets that have been buried too long.
If I go crazy one day, I'm gonna definitely buy a nice crib close to the park. The neighbors here match me perfectly.
Well, I'm glad Brian has that sort of thing going on for him.
Yeah, I can't stand this street. It's like it's lost in time and space. How about we head through the square?
I don't know why this would be considered lost in time and space if people are just odd. No one protests, so she leads them onwards, sweeping into the nearest alley. A gust of wind bursts through the narrow walkway, permeating the air with the stench of raw wooden planks and rotting garbage. The houses in the alley look like they've been copied and pasted. They were likely been... Okay, sometimes there's just odd wording. They were likely built at the same time the house What the fucking... that sentence is fucking with me. They were likely built at the same time as the house factory workers. The only thing that differs is the light in the windows on or off, making it clear whose shift it is tonight. Okay. That was just a really weird sentence to say aloud. I get the idea. The alleys seem to go with how the workers have their shifts. Cool. 2 Christmases before, Brian got beaten up there. Some high school students apparently didn't appreciate his sharp tongue. They'd shoved him into a snowbank and packed snow under his sweater. The most humiliating part was a neighbor kicking them all out. She came out on the doorstep with one of Brian's classmates, a cute but overly chatty girl. By the very next day, the whole school had heard the story about him shaking snow out of his pants and whimpering like a puppy. Would have preferred being rolled into a giant snowman and left there like that till spring. Brian adjusts the backpack full of baseball equipment, which has crawled down his shoulder, and walks up to Ashley.
I'm so fed up with this stupid school. All these teachers, homework, tests.
Such is school.
But the year just started.
That only makes me want to study even less. There's nothing worse than coming back to school after summer.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. He jumps over a puddle and takes Ashley's hand.
It's like wearing old trainers you've already grown out of. Can't wait for college. When I start working, I'll buy real catcher's gear. Or at least a better glove.
His palm still hurt from Friday's practice session. The equipment donated to their team left much to be desired.
Better buy a slugger straight away. It'll pay off much sooner. Best case scenario, you can be a bouncer at a bar.
Ashley laughs at his childishness. Brian doesn't get the complexity of the word at all.
Dad says a good job like his is hard to find without higher education.
Ashley grabs her Leo Zodiac pendant. It's a nervous habit. Something she does whenever she says something important. It calms her down.
College is just another place to study.
Yes, but you're more independent.
This world's too cruel. Illness, starvation, school.
Ah, yes, the 3 worries of the world. At least the first 2 make sense.
I like school though.
See? Michael tries to squeeze into the conversation. All along he's been trailing behind the others, glancing suspiciously at parked pickups, as if they might bite. Hasn't kept up with his friends since he noticed 2 silhouettes in an old Ford. 1 female, 1 male. Mutilated faces stared back at him. Just sworn he'd heard a hoarse, gurgling whisper. The garbled words sank into his skin like windshield fragments, making his chest constrict like his ribs were breaking. Every breath pained him like his lungs were pooling with blood. Then a light had flashed over one of the doorsteps, dispersing the blackness. Suddenly both seats were empty again, and the strange vision turned into nothing but a local flour mill uniform hanging from a grab handle. Michael wipes the sweat off his forehead and listens carefully to his friends.
Of course. I'd love school too if I had your scores, Mikey.
Mikey seems to have other problems.
Exactly.
Green and Brian quickly squeezes Ashley's hand.
Maybe I should wear glasses too. Sounds like homework doesn't look so boring through them.
No, he's just fucking blind. I know the feeling. They walk by the Murdoch's front garden onto a street flooded with pink and blue neon store signs.
You'd better stop complaining. We only have 3 years of school left.
Only 3 years.
Just imagine. Life's gonna be completely different afterward. We might even lose touch.
Yeah, that's very possible. To Ava, the idea of moving away feels like teleporting to an unfamiliar planet. So many new people, places, and interesting stories. She hasn't even fully explored Riverwood yet. In her mind, the town's old houses and old residents still harbor so many secrets. Enigmatic and dark. In comparison, some unknown huge city feels like a bottomless well, impossible to fully drain even if you had 100 years. In a future like that, it'd be hard to make time for anything from the past. But she doesn't plan to forget her loved ones forever.
If friendship's real, distance means nothing. My dad calls his friends from other states every single day.
And I Discord with my friends almost every day. She's tempted to add that they mainly have business conversations and argue often, but they don't need to know that. In her mind, her parents are role models everyone should strive to imitate, not just her and her brother. There isn't a single family in the entire town happier, more close-knit than Ashley's. And that's nothing but the truth.
Well, a couple of cornfields and state borders ain't enough to break you up.
What the hell do Ashley's dad, your love, and cornfields have in common? Look around.
Fucking jarred his ass. Look at that. What the fuck you mean? Country music festival. Also, I noticed from a thing earlier. Apparently there's like Pog type stuff in this game. It was just called Pug. Ava stops and points towards the houses swaying in the darkness.
Is there anything really happening up here? Crunk Jim driving his tractor into a ravine was practically the only breaking news here in 6 months.
Which that dude probably never lived it down for a while.
Well, adulthood is a real challenge. People grow up, then they start to feel sorry that time flew by so fast, and they want to experience school life again.
She pauses, searching for the right words. Quoting someone is one thing, but she will soon regret those bygone days herself. After all, Ava already recalls her early childhood with nostalgic warmth. Back then, every little thing felt like it was brimming with wonder. Now a doll is no longer a sorceress princess or a traveler from a faraway world. Toy soldier is just a piece of plastic. A blanket no longer serves as a battlefield for alien creatures. Making stories for others is simple, but how are you supposed to fix yourself? The older you get, the duller and more colorless the world becomes.
It's like going back to a fairy tale you weren't grateful enough for earlier.
That's kind of neat. I like
They're
that.
just nice words, nothing more. Bring adults back to the textbooks, and they'll howl all day. I don't remember any fairy tales where the characters were forced to read Walt Whitman's poetry. What about you, Michael?
I mean, usually when people have worlds, I mean, they're still forced to have some sort of literacy or culture.
Me neither.
Yeah, fuck the country music festival. High Score Arcade, Mama's Hands, Pizza Town, Coyote Bar. The friends stroll from one store to the next, looking at the flickering signs. Up close, they no longer seem bright and cheerful. They look rather ramshackle and out of place in the dilapidated suburb.
Let's go home, okay? Dad's on a shift today. But if he comes back to grab a bite to eat and I ain't there...
He's fucked. Ryan scratches his neck and sticks out his tongue. Ashley laughs and punches him in the shoulder. Michael has a breakdown in the back as he's still thinking about that person's car crash. Michael, trailing behind everyone, suddenly stops and looks at the only sign that sparkles as brightly and cheerfully as the day it was hung.
The arcade's open! I doubt there's anyone there this late. We can play S-Fighter.
Street Fighter? Usually calm and quiet, he is now blossoms. Behind his thick glasses, his eyes shine with passion.
Totally. No stupid helpers, suckers, or high school jerks.
Yeah, that dude loved, like, look at that face. That man knows. And they're pissed. The boys lean against the dusty window, as happy as if they're meeting their idols. The girl's only snorting irritation.
What? Suddenly you're not gonna run back to your crib to avoid Daddy's shellacking?
That's just rude.
I'll risk it. There's always a chance Dad'll kick you in the head. But the chance to throw Hadoukens and not wait in a frickin' line for the game, now that's rare.
It takes so little to make them happy, doesn't it?
And that's not a bad thing. Ashley glances at her
Let
friend.
him play. By the way, did you hear about the arcade machine that appears in the hall by itself?
That's going to be what this is based around, isn't it? Ashley rolls her eyes, if his fantasies and reality have little in common. Her friend refuses to grow up. In her world, even a tattered old shoe might open its jaws and spin some ridiculous yarn. And that's exactly why Ashley adores Ava. She's so incredibly different from Ashley's overly rational parents. And from Ashley, too. So her getting bored is an impossible mission. And if they were both locked in an empty basement, Ava would still manage to discover something fascinating there. She'd pull Ashley in and get her into trouble again. And giggle about it later. But Ava doesn't need to know that. It isn't like anyone can stop her
You
anyways.
start playing and can't stop. The game never ends. It's impossible. But you try over and over again. Forgetting about eating or even going to the bathroom. Over and over again. Not thinking of your parents and friends. Over and over again until...
Balatro.
Until you run out of your allowance, can't afford breakfast, and stay hangry for the rest of the week because you're dumb.
Michael peels away from the glass and adjusts his lopsided glasses.
Well, that doesn't sound so scary if you got no allowance to begin with. Want to go in or what?
Gosh, they're looking at us like dogs staring at a steak.
Ashley waves her hand authoritatively.
It's creepy to go home when it's so dark out. But if you win 100 tickets, me and Eva are gonna pick a prize.
Can you get tickets from Street Fighter? Act 2. It's high time for games. So Act 1 was just learning about the characters, which makes a lot of sense. AKDK back into the alien shark dinner. I'm assuming that's Jaws. Love, bunny, little demon. What the fuck is that? Game pod. Hello. Buttons, Cosmo Planet, Planes 4. The spacious room is somehow stuffy, permeated with a stench of hot plastic unsuccessfully covered up by pungent berry air fresheners.
Smells like wasted time.
Fuck you.
As if. The shack smells nothing like school.
That's true. The clamor of screensavers and demo walkthroughs melds into a terrible cacophony. No wonder the zoned out cashier is shielding himself from with a set of greasy cushioned headphones. The walls are plastered with posters, promotional flyers, and all sorts of paper trash. However, one ad stands out. If you beat a record, you can win tickets and exchange them for prizes. Such generosity was easily explained. With the start of the school year, kids have a bit more cash in their pockets than usual. There's no one inside except the cashier, yet the floor is peppered with trash from crumpled soda cans to chocolate bar wrappers. Man, people don't take care of their spaces. The arcade closes in 30 minutes. Local kids can only hang out here at this hour in the summer. The hall is packed with all sorts of arcade machines, each game's name glowing and inviting. Clips of the characters deliberately failing to beat different levels flash on the screens over and over. Monkey King. Galaga, I think is what that is. One of those is messed up. Leaderboard Adastra Oles, Haynes Winkler, Valentine Reed, Victoria Kincaid, and Lake Kubelis? I don't know. Boys start searching for the most interesting game. Oh, I get to choose. So I can choose between Galaga, one that I can't play, Monkey King. Let's go with the one I can't play. Oh! S-Fighter, the best game the hall has ever seen. Q and Ren are frozen on the signboard, ready to jump at each other. The floor around the arcade machine is brightly polished, worn down by student sneakers. Lalaga. Really? This was once one of the most famous games. Now this veteran arcade cabinet is only used while the others are busy, or when a couple of truly insane nerds try and fail to break the record of someone named Lily the Rat once or twice a month. Monkey King, an arcade golden oldie. The game machine is ancient and in poor condition. The sign barely even flickers anymore. One of the buttons is cracked.
It's over here!
Temporarily out of order, no cashier cannot fix it. Boys run towards the machine. Hasn't yet been wrecked the way some of the other time-worn neighbors have. Even so, the buttons and plastic casing bear scuffs, cracks, and grubby marks left by countless kids' hands. Worst of all, instead of some thrilling music, the machine is emitting only a hoary wheeze. Like an old man struggling to clear his throat instead of pushing a death rattle out of his rusty lungs. A piece of cardboard with a blood-curdling inscription is stuck to the screen.
God, where is your justice?
Okay. I like this game's humor. I like it.
Who's the god of computer nerds? The monkey holding the barrel?
No, he's the king. Ryan grumbles something in response and Michael just shrugs.
A technician's coming, but not till at least next Tuesday. So y'all need to choose some other game. Try Road Blasters. It's the freshest here.
Oh, now you're a perky little dude, aren't you? Cashier points at the brand new arcade displaying a car blowing up and drowning in a fiery pixelated cloud. He goes right back to being just... Why did he go back to this? He was so happy 2 seconds ago to tell us about this new game.
Dang it!
Michael's voice trembles. He seldom lets himself betray such emotion, but Brian has his back.
What else have you got, other than cars?
All that and a bag of chips. If you're ranking the top 5 of Pumpkin Man, I'll give you a double prize.
Pumpkin Man. That's towards the counter.
No one really plays this trash. We've got a real shot at setting a record.
Aw, kitty. Gray cat lounging on a chair next to another machine captures the girl's attention. 4 letters shine on her pink collar. Lucy.
So sweet.
Pet, pet, pet. Oh! Pet the cat. Cat finds her ears and grumbles.
I bet you $5 she doesn't remember how clean hands with no cheese ball dust on them feel.
Yeah.
She kinda looks like the cat Mom was trying to paint last month.
Let me guess. The cat in the painting had mandibles and a pair of tentacles.
Hey, don't doubt on Lovecraftian stuff. Sure, the history behind it's not that great, but it's cool.
I wish. She was just in the background. Mom paints people. You know how it is.
Is she a character or caricature artist? Ashley knows. She wishes she didn't, though. Explains why she prefers inviting Ava other than just visiting her. Well, one of the reasons, anyways. I had a slumber party at Eva's place twice. Both nights, Ashley had been plagued by nightmares. The root cause was a few masterpieces Ava's mom considered her favorites. Compared to those monstrosities, plain old horror movies are practically bright and cheery cartoons. Pumpkin Man, got it. Meanwhile, the boys approach the coin-operated Pumpkin Man machine. Instead of the usual Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man, a bright orange pumpkin is flying around tough levels, eating licorice candies. The display sears their eyes with poisonous shades as a bunch of green blots chase the voracious pumpkin.
What you think? Are these ghosts?
Looks like they have guns. Michael peers at the sign.
Here's a hunter shooting the pumpkin with a shotgun.
They're restless hunter souls then.
Awesome. Let him catch the pumpkin. Then everyone's happy. The hunters are safe in their graves, and we're home.
Brian decisively draws a handful of coins from his pocket and inserts them. Coins clatter through the machine's metal innards and settle in his stomach. In its stomach. Maze dissolves into pixels and rearranges itself into the first level. Its corridors are speckled with candies, and the ghosts begin darting ravenously around the
Back
cage.
home? With no prize. I ain't leaving until we empty out the prize counter.
For 30 minutes, you're gonna empty out the entire prize counter. Cashier shudders at the thought.
We close in half an hour.
See? Brian winked at
Then
Michael.
he's gonna have 15 minutes left over to cry over his empty counter.
The fuck kind of threat is that? Oh, do I have to do this now? Press any key.
Dang it! They got you cornered!
Wow, that really does hurt the eyes, doesn't it? Left and right of this thing aren't great. Okay, there we go. It didn't go up for like a couple seconds here.
Wrong way.
Nah, up is terrible. Oh, I'm fucked.
This time.
Okay, what about menu? Okay, arrow keys work much better. Wow, these ones are really out to get you. Holy shit.
To the left.
Got it. Level 2, bitch. That's not the direction I chose, but sure.
Looking at the screen hurts. Don't
It
you
does.
feel your head swell?
No.
Why do I scream no?
You got him. We'll beat this level. To the left.
Thank you, game. I really needed to know that. And I can say to the right every once in a while, too. It's okay.
This time.
Nailed it.
This time.
All or nothing. Level 3.
Looking at the screen hurts. Don't you feel your head swell?
No. You got him. We'll beat this level. To the left. Wrong way. To the left.
And we got this. Let's fucking go. Pumpkin King. I survived all 3 levels. Pumpkin Man gobbles up the last candy and the leaderboard flares up on the screen. Michael and Brian are on top. No way anyone's going to beat that anytime soon. This is the kind of thing they would boast about at school, but Michael can't help but feel genuine pride in himself and his friend. But he's even more excited about having made the most of every coin they've spent.
Dang! Look how many we've got!
How many did we get? Machine starts to print out the sacred tickets. 10, 20, 50, 100. Boys stare at their treasure, jaws agape. Can only imagine what they'll be worth. Door bursts open to reveal Big Peter standing on the threshold. Yeah, what a fucking... Yeah, I'm really threatened by Big Peter. Fucking really... He's a high schooler, way too tall and way too stupid. A menacing image on his t-shirt stares in the world through his empty skull sockets. Of all the bad guys who bully elementary schoolers, Peter is the most persistent and vindictive. If you fight back, he'll always find a way to get even. And this town is completely okay with this. No one's going to reprimand this man at all for really picking on elementary schools. Lurking alleyways with his buddies and sneak into your yard after dark to break your bike or windows. Yeah, this dude really needs to get therapy.
Hey, assholes!
Strides up and punches Michael and Brian.
My bros are gonna shit their pants when I tell them how 2 chicks disguised as boys were playing some shitty pumpkin adventure instead of S-Fighter.
Michael pushes his glasses back into place, his ears ringing, at least the stupid expression on Peter's face after seeing their high school. I'm assuming that means high score. Makes up for all his pain and sadness.
What the hell? What's wrong with this machine?
It's called reading, Pete. You should try it sometime. Then you would know S-Fighter's broken.
Cashier sitting on the desk just looks on indifferently. Peter's eyes flash with rage. He punches the machine and turns on the boys, reeking of tobacco and sour
What you
sweat.
holding, Four Eyes?
Michael takes a step back and trips over a chair. Brian clenches his jaws. He's never once wanted to see that ugly mug anywhere but school. How does this jerk find him?
Listen up, lovebirds. Give me the tickets, and I'll forget what baby Brian said with his shitty little mouth.
Not waiting for a reply, Pete snatches their tickets and tries to wrench them out of Michael's hands. Friends have no time to think. They have to fight back or surrender. Okay, even if he takes the tickets, the cashier is right there. And I don't think these guys really need to worry about it. Because even if he tries to turn these in to this guy here, I don't think he's going to let him actually use them. So just give him the tickets. Pacifist. Fuck you. Michael opens his fist and the tickets tumble into Peter's enormous mitt. Peter grins. He isn't in for the loot. He just loves seeing his victims utterly helpless. That's the real reward. Doesn't care about the prize in the slightest. Obviously, the bully is thrilled with himself, his strength, and the fear he's instilled in the other teens. Michael and Brian know that self-satisfied look all too well. High schooler pockets the easy payday and Snickers.
Smart choice. It's not for nothing that you wear glasses, nerd.
Gives Brian a contemptuous stare. Smug glint lights up in his eyes, as if mocking him one last time as a cherry on top of the whole
You got
interaction.
something to say?
I totally would, but I'd rather talk to the cat. At least it would understand what I was saying better than you.
Peter brushes past and elbows him in the ribs. Brian grunts and clenches his fist from pain. From annoyance. From the fact that he knows that in a fight with a high schooler, he'll only get a broken nose and a couple of black eyes. The worst part is that the girls have just come back from their bathroom and seen everything. As Peter passes him, Ashley speaks up coldly.
You think you're a hero, don't you? Don't worry. One day, you'll meet some swine who's bigger than you are. And then you'll find yourself in the other guy's shoes.
Lola, Lola.
This dump of a town don't have pigs big enough to scare me. And your mommy doesn't count.
Dude, you're a fucking high schooler picking on what you just said were elementary school people. Ashley freezes, contemplating slapping him. But wait, no, wait, they just said they were in the first year of high school. I don't get it. I think some of these things need to be slightly changed. Ashley freezes, contemplating slapping him. How dare that dirtbag insult her mother? This whole family of dung beetles isn't worth a single finger of hers. Touching that filth would only sully her hands.
Maybe you ought to look in the mirror for once.
Door shuts behind Peter and the halls falls silent, except for the beeping of arcade machines. Eva thinks of her kind and timid brother. What would he do if he ran into a guy like that at school? Would he be able to defend himself? Who would have his back? But knowing him, he would make a ton of friends with ease. He didn't need strength or anger for that. Friends are there to help and support you, even in the worst moments. Eva shoots Michael a sympathetic glance, but she has something to do to distract the boys and cheer them up.
Aw, did he take them all?
Yeah, and the cashier just didn't give a fuck. Michael spreads his arm wide, revealing his empty hands.
Never mind. We still got a little something.
Shows him 8 tickets.
I found them on the bathroom sink. Strange that no one else picked them up.
I probably wouldn't have touched those, but fair. It's only enough for a cheap keychain, but they're out of money to keep playing, so they head to the cashier with what they have. Ashley goes silent, anxiously twisting her finger, or her favorite pendant, and avoiding her friends' gaze. Brian is 100 times worse than any punch or insult. He suddenly wants to catch up to Peter, start a fight, find the right words to push back. To not look like a coward, to smash the high schooler's head with a brick, only to get back and change what happened. 5 minutes earlier, he'd raised his fists, ready for a fight, but for whatever reason, it just hung in the air when he should have been leaving bruises on the older guy's face. So what was the point of putting them to work now, even in the privacy of his imagination?
Out of luck, huh?
Staff member is holding a jar of cheap marinated sausages with a leather face mask stretched over it.
I wanted to joke around and scare y'all a little, but that's enough frights for one day.
Puts the jar down on the counter.
Never mind. That big guy's always hanging around the hall and taking kids' tickets. He wants to save up for the game pod, but he won't. Not on my shift, that's for sure. I saw what he did.
See? Ava frowns. She barely loses her temper, but the cashiers set her off. She really can't wrap her mind around why a grown man would just stand idly by and watch them get robbed. How can anyone be so heartless? Does everyone become that distant, cold, and indifferent with age? Thought makes her blood boil. Even a short word could have stopped Peter. And the 14s wouldn't feel as helpless as puppies being kicked around for fun.
If he's always bullying and robbing other gamers, just ban him. He's a complete hooligan.
Kids ought to learn to solve their problems by themselves. They gotta stand their own ground. If two boys let some punk take their prize and don't fight back...
Ashley nods innocently. Ryan's face stings with shame and he averts his eyes. What the fuck kind of cashier is this? You have to do it yourself. If he's doing it to everyone, maybe these two can change it. No, just fucking... Really? This guy's a dick. Ashley firmly believes in standing your ground even over small things. If you don't value yourself enough not to let people walk all over you, you can't expect results from anyone. Respect, but like... There's a certain point where it's just you being a bystander. And then there's a thing of like, oh, okay, this person actually just lets people do that. If you're just letting people walk on you to walk on you, like at work, at school, that's one thing. If you're seeing someone being a dick to everyone, I think they're the problem. Life is full of confrontations, tough choices, and problems. Not dealing with them will just bury both you and your dreams. Is there anything worse than ending up a loser who regrets the past and replays everything they've messed up in their head every night before falling asleep? Standing between Michael and Brian, Ava suddenly smiles at them.
We still got a few tickets. How about we choose a small prize?
Can't do that one. Probably can do that one. Maybe the... Let's go with the mystery bowl. 50-minute tickets. Ashley would love this toy as she believes in fortune telling and horoscopes. 1986 Cubs baseball cards, 40-win tickets. The cards' prize have slumped since everyone rushed to buy them a few years back, hoping to sell them at a profit later, if they aren't interested in sports. Brian's personal collection is only missing the 1986 and 1984 sets. He'd love this. Cube, 35 winning tickets. A good but hard puzzle. Michael loves stuff like that. Probably solve it in 15 minutes. Slinky, 20 winning tickets. Red Slinky, an American golden oldie. Can perform lots of simple tricks with it. Ava's promised her younger brother she'll give him one just like this. Game Pod, 10,000 winning tickets. Best prize ever. The boy's wildest dream. Wonder how long you'd have to play to win this many tickets. Can I get any of these buttons? Oh, VHS. Old VHS tape with no price tag.
Y'all don't get enough tickets for nothing. But, since y'all are down on your luck today and the boys played Pumpkin Man pretty well, I'll at least give y'all this instead.
Oh? Takes the old VHS tape from the shelf and hands it to the guys. Then peering closely at the teens, you half whispers.
Found it last week lying on the chair. Oh, I swear by my cap collection, I'd already cleaned up the trash and washed the floor without spawning it. Came out of nowhere.
Ava snatches up the cassette and inexplicably takes a big whiff. Rather than old plastic, the prize smells more like barbecue sauce. Solvent, paint, soil, wet with rain. The odors mixed together in the most unimaginable way.
What's on it?
Dunno. This place ain't got no VHS player, and I didn't take it home neither. What if the owner came back for it?
Ava stashes a cassette in her bag and shoots her friends a huge
A
grin.
mystery cassette? That's worth more than 1,000 tickets. Who knows what secrets it's keeping?
Friends don't share her excitement. Brian and Michael head to the exit in silence. Ashley lingers near the cat, who suddenly gets up, stretches, and lets out a long, loud meow.
What? You want to rob us too? Should have been first in line then. Now it's too late. We've already been bled dry.
Yeah, that cat's really gonna fuck us up. Act 3, a bad sign. Instead of a stop sign, it's gonna be a to stop sign. Most of the signs are already off, submerging the thickets, basements, and narrow alleyways in darkness. It splashes out onto the square, engulfing it in blackness. Only a few pickups, locked bicycles are still around, all parked by Marshall Sue's bar. The wind sweeps over the fields. The element that usually toys with the harvested corn now moans forlornly, plunging the suburb into melancholy. Winter will change everything. Stores and bars will be strung with sparkling beads of colorful lights, and the snow will smooth the wrinkles and scars of old Riverwood. The town will take on a deceptively pretty, cozy facade. As a kid, Michael loved strolling around there during Christmas vacation, munching on hot pies and watching snowflakes fall through the thick windows of a coffee shop. Back then, he never noticed the aging buildings, chipped concrete, or the gloomy people trying to fake a smile. In autumn, however, the suburbs flaws and stand out more sharply. It looks unwelcoming, gray, lifeless. No wonder Ava calls it the season of ghosts. Just thinking of it gives him the creeps.
Well, we're late. Granny and Grandpa will be upset.
If that's the worst that'll happen, then you may as well stay out a little later.
Feeling gonna get in a little trouble, I mean... well... Sign above the entrance bids them farewell with a malicious flicker and switches off. Ryan is feeling even worse than he did at the first baseball practice. Back then he just looked like a clumsy newbie. Didn't earn his teammates' respect until he caught a flyout. But games have rules everyone follows. Life doesn't. Kinda. Everything is under your control. On the field, you're valued as long as you contribute. If you're good at something, your team accepts you, treats you as an equal, stands up for you. Pete would hardly show up in the middle of a game and snatch the ball or bat from him, so our reputation was safe among his team. Ashley's opinion, on the other hand, is much harder to change. He had been humiliated in front of a significant other, and Brian can't exactly count on her to be supportive and understanding, but he certainly doesn't deserve a cold, arrogant reaction. Sensing this, Ava quickly draws her friend's attention, waving the cassette in the air.
Hey, cheer up! We didn't leave empty-handed. Besides, it was sensible not to start a fight.
Usually is. Relaxing a little, Brian edges closer to Ashley, but she lets out a sudden contemptuous laugh. He freezes.
Consolation prizes are only good for kids. Dad says you should be able to defend what's yours. Otherwise, life will chew you up and spit you out. Once you've given a bully your tickets or allowance, you'll always do it. But if you hit back...
You'll get beaten up anyway.
Yeah. Silent and sensible, he hates conflict and can't fight at all. Nevertheless, he's courageous enough to admit it.
Peter was just pushing your buttons. Who knows? Maybe he wouldn't have even started a fight. Don't let every douchebag walk all over you.
She twists her pendant furiously, so trying to talk some sense into her friends. The fact that everyone else just gives in so easily infuriates her. Pete isn't Godzilla, just some dumb bully. Punch him in the face and chase him off, bruises fade, but wounded pride never heals. Yet no one else seems to be thinking about that. Ava just hovers around the guys, trying to distract them with that ridiculous prize. She's always like that, whether with people or animals, forgiving, nurturing, and endlessly soft-hearted toward everyone. Confirming Ashley's thoughts, Ava squeezes between the two boys and taps on the cassette.
Oh, come on! Next time you'll win even more tickets and get any prize you want. As for Peter, he might as well wipe his ass with his tickets. You heard the cashier, didn't you?
Not sure if Peter knows anything about basic hygiene. He'd rather rub his ass on the grass like a dog.
Ashley bursts into laughter, shattering her cold exterior.
We're lucky Eva found those tickets and tried getting a prize anyway. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten anything. I wonder what's on it.
Eva blushes a bit, whether from the chilly wind or unexpected praise. Ashley doesn't know.
Definitely something special. You heard it yourselves. It came out of nowhere. What if it's a cursed video or a secret ritual?
I think cursed video is probably on point.
Or a rustic family feast where 80-year-old Grandpa Cletus spends half an hour congratulating his granddaughter.
Brian asks Ava for the cassette and gives it a cursory once-over. Plastic is worn and scratched. The case bears traces of a torn sticker and the seal is broken.
It looks like a personal archive of a maniac who killed a lot of people and recorded their achievements for their descendants to watch. A comfy basement, hooks, candles.
Or an auto shop with a buzzsaw and a big meat freezer.
What'd you think? If we said we're big fans of his art, will the maniac let Peter land the next star role? I'd like him more if he was chopped to pieces.
Damn. Friends burst in laughter and together head through the town square toward the area's newest and most affluent suburb. Oh, I didn't read that like I wanted to. So we have a standing pool, a treehouse. Fuck yeah. What was I supposed to do? Oh, soon reach Ashley's driveway, which boasts a large yard with plenty of space for her treehouse, a pool, and a heated shed. Fancy houses like that look alien in Riverwood, like jamming a few expensive implants into a row of rotten teeth. Suburb is in no hurry to accept them. Over time it will warp them into its shawl of mist and drizzle, engulf them in vines and weeds. It will be years before they truly belong. For now, the house's red-tiled roof still gleams. The pavement has not cracked or sprouted fresh shoots of dogged grass, and the building has not yet sagged beneath the weight of passing years. The only light still on is her parents' bedroom upstairs, which means Ashley will have to make her own dinner and have it cold.
Ash, you have an old VHS player in your shed, don't you?
Why the fuck do you have an old... Never mind.
Yeah, but I should have gotten rid of it after you'd bought that creepy Italian movie about ballerinas.
That has to be a reference to something. Stop by the decorative fence. It figures the boys need a distraction, otherwise the moment they get home they'll spiral into a trap of regrets about Pete and the motherload of tickets that were rightfully theirs. Luckily, the consolation prize is waiting right in her bag. Well, if that's the exact thing they needed to forget their failure and move on.
Why don't we quick check out what's on the tape?
I'm not in the mood. Besides, our heroes have to hurry home.
Fuck you, Ashley. Brian flushes. Ashley's words cut deeper than any of Peter's punches and insults. Yeah, kick him while they're down. Fuck him. Michael suddenly pipes up.
Actually, I'd love to find out. If it's just a simple movie, it won't take that much time. And if it's something more interesting, maybe we can finish it tomorrow?
Fuck yeah, Michael. Should have been home in the kitchen a long time ago, listening to his grandparents crack a few sharp jokes before bed, hiding from everything behind piles of books and well-worn notes. But it isn't every day he can spend so much time with his friends, and Michael appreciates moments like this more than anything else.
Agreed. Why go home early?
Alright, let's just watch it real quick then. That way, we can get the next disappointment over with already and head back to our cribs.
Always a positive outlook with you, Ashley. Act 4, comfy place. Ah yes, comfy. Why the fuck do they have a scarecrow? As far as the friends are concerned, Ashley's shed is the best and coziest place in the whole suburb. It guards them from boredom and Riverwood's troubles during cold winter nights, and no outsiders are allowed in. So where Brian kissed Ashley for the first time, where Michael first heard someone call him a friend, and where Ava likes to turn off the lights, gather everyone in a circle, tell them about movie plots and local legends. Occasionally they have to share the shed with Chris, Ashley's older brother, but he doesn't usually interrupt. Lets the sister and her friends fool around and sometimes even joins them. And that day, the shed is all theirs. The shed is filled with dated furniture living out its last days and unused equipment covered in dust, plus other miscellaneous items the family are too lazy to get rid of. Ashley's family is rich enough that they don't need to sell all their old junk, so a lot of it has been stuffed into the shed. Scarecrow first. Why a scarecrow from Bennett's field? Ashley asked Chris to steal it after the Bennett's youngest daughter lost their doll. It's hard to believe, but Ava swore the scarecrow had moved on its own. Antique mirror, little Ashley loved looking in it and imagining she was a Disney princess. Ava would barely even glance at the mirror. She was 110% convinced that Bloody Mary would come out of it if she wasn't careful. The old motorcycle. 3 years ago, before Ashley and Brian started dating, Brian saddled it up and drove it into the creek. She burst into laughter, and Brian was banned from visiting Ashley's house. Seems the ban still hasn't been lifted. Archaic Atari Pong console. Ashley's father played it as a teenager, but the only controller broke long ago, and so did the console itself. Chris's battered punching bag. Someone must have thrown hatchets and darts at it. No one's inside, but the room still holds hints of Chris's presence. Pillows are scattered all over a big rug, and the air reeks of cigarette smoke. Obviously, he was just here. If the friends had arrived just a little earlier, they would have definitely run into him.
Is that a new console?
Michael bends over to examine the brand new console. The controller seems to extend its controller toward him invitingly. 3 cartridges are stacked side by side. He wants to play more than anything in the world. And the fight with Pete and the mysterious tape fades into the background as he stares into his new treasure. Brian would definitely agree and keep him company. He's hardly ever played on this console before, and he isn't likely to get another chance anytime soon. It's too good an opportunity to pass up. The others don't mind, of course. Full of hope, Michael glances at Ashley. After all, the shed is hers. But she's only staring at the console with disgust, so they dug it up in a grave.
That's not ours. One of Chris's new buddies must have lent him this while he's under house arrest. Maybe they're worried he'll shrivel up out of boredom like a sun-dried tomato.
That is a trusting and good friend.
What could Chris have even done to upset your parents so bad? I don't recall you ever being under house arrest.
So they're extremely loose and they have hella money. This is probably like the best situation for her, but that's probably why she's so pessimistic. Probably feels like she's not seen. Ashley looks at her friend like she's just a cute, naive little kitten. Ava, of all people, should have noticed how much Chris had changed, even if it didn't happen fast. And that way, her friend is just like her parents who, until recent events, refused to acknowledge what's been happening with their son.
Chris committed the most vicious crime of all. Disappointing our parents. Here's the deets. He ran away to another party in the middle of the night and came home totally crunk in the morning. Mom even found a bottle of pumpkin beer stuffed into his jacket pocket.
I'd never guessed Chris was like that.
Ashley can't disagree. Chris had changed lately. He used to play sports. He'd never smoke or follow complete idiots who were only cool to even more moronic idiots, like Peter. But strangely, only Ashley seems to have noticed. Maybe she doesn't know her brother better than other people. He wasn't always a jerk, but something has changed him. Dragged out the worst in him, and jammed everything else behind a wall of sarcasm and indifference. The more people expect from him, the less he seems to care about his own life. Michael interrupts Ashley. His train of thought. He's hovering around a console like a vulture waiting for an animal to die. It's rather funny.
Can I play a little? Just a couple of minutes, that's all.
Michael's never dared even dream to touch in a console before college. His grandparents don't think video games are necessary, and they've tried every possible way to convince Michael of that too. He never argues or throws a fit like some ungrateful kid, but he's sure he'd be happier if he at least had an old game console. If fate had played out differently, he would have had everything. He knows that because as a child he considered himself the happiest kid in the world. Toys, books, comics. All he'd have to do was ask and that would appear. That's something he's left in the past. It isn't like he can rewind reality. Michael accepted that long ago, though sometimes he'd still let his guard down. A murky swamp of memories comes flooding back.
I wouldn't touch it. It's gotta be from either Sam or Bobby, and they could have pinched it from someone. I don't think you want to play with stolen stuff.
I don't know, it looks like that game console's really on his eye. Rumor has it that her brother's new acquaintances are real douchebags. Both come from good families, but gossip about their wicked deeds is always swirling around town. And Chris is constantly trying to squeeze into their gang, schmoozing them with free drinks and cigarettes.
And how about we take advantage of Chris's new acquaintances and ask them to help us out with Peter?
Solve your own problems.
That would be
But
solving his
speaking of
problem.
Sam and Bobby, did you hear how djinns can make dreams come true? Or demons?
Okay, quick thing on that. If you're asking someone else to help you, that is using your connections. That is indeed solving your problems. Getting help is not a bad thing. Ava instantly perks up, temporarily forgetting all about the cassette and the TV.
They make dreams come true, but only in a way where you really regret it. Peter might pocket our allowances every week, but
Bobby and Sam will make you break into an old church and siphon off the communion wine for him. No way we're asking anybody for help.
Okay, so she's saying that they're like demons. Got it. Ryan Shug settles down on one of the pillows and jerks his head towards
Put
the TV.
cassette in, Eva, or Chris might come back and ruin everything.
Ava quickly obeys, inserting the cassette into the VHS player and making her friends sit in a semicircle.
it's more atmospheric this way.
No shit. Screen blinks as if greeting old friends. Somewhere beyond the shed, the wind howls, sweeping out from the fields, descending on the suburb in a cold blast. The shed sways under the pressure and groans like an old man suffering from arthritis. Shreds of plywood and insulation sprinkle down from the roof. Picture begins forming on the screen. The black and gray static stripes morph into an image, taking on colors and shapes. One part becomes studio walls. Another area changes to a decorated set on a Friday night show. This is not where I expected this guy to come in. I saw just this image when I was looking at the Kickstarter page earlier. Raz turns into a body of a game show host wearing striped suit jacket.
Wow, the evening is saved. There is a recording.
I would assume so with it being so like that. The host is half turned and staring at the camera as if waiting for a dictator's signal to start, trying to see the audience on the other side of the screen.
Hope it's not a pilot of Wheel of Fortune. I can't stand.
The rolling static suddenly gives way to an orchestral intro song. The musician seems to have conspired to play as badly as possible. Honestly, fuck yeah.
It's definitely the one and only episode. They would never broadcast a show with an intro this bad.
Maybe it is the pilot episode and it just never came to be.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome, my sweet and miserable guests, to the most unique, funniest.
The angle abruptly changes and the studio looks less bright and cheerful. Walls have lost their false gloss and bright hues. Half the spotlights go out and those that remain are only dimly lit. But the host keeps smiling.
To the most unique, funniest, and scariest show on TV.
Friends exchange puzzled glances.
I bet my hand that this is something you've never seen before and will never see again. Sadly, I've got nothing left to bet. I ate my hand before the show.
I don't even know how to feel about this so far. Somewhere in the background, canned laughter and applause ring out. The teenagers can certainly believe the host really did devour his hand before the show. Behavior is odd, his speech is too dramatic. He keeps breaking into screams, choking on his cackling. Somehow he manages to act both insanely cheerful and inappropriately gloomy at the exact same time, all depending on the angle the producer
We
chooses.
should have caught up with Peter and given him the cassette. He'd never mess with us again after seeing this. He'd think we were complete psychos who might stab him in the school locker room. Would anyone sober record this bullshit?
Yes, it seems amazing.
Well, I like it.
I
Never
knew
heard
it.
of the show. It looks unusual. Why don't we just give it a try?
The person who loves mystery really loves this one. Who would have expected that in the slightest? Michael and Brian nod, staring intently at the flickering screen. The host, as if waiting for their verdict, steps back from the camera and holds his hands out in an inviting gesture.
So come on, take a seat. The broken and prideful, the reserved and those embracing everything new, the brave, cowardly, dependent, and free. Get comfortable. Enjoy.
The screen echoes. The host's voice dwindles, then deepens. It sounds muffled as if emanating from a cellar filled with soil.
Yourself.
Picture dissolves into a ripple of black and white mess and a terrible crack bursts out of the speakers.
That's enough for today.
What if there's more? Who'd spoil a whole cassette to record such a short clip?
David gets up from the pedal and goes to the VHS player to fast forward a bit. And already outstretched when the beep speeds up. Then, boom out bass. Suddenly the beep sounds subdued. Steady hum emanates from the speakers. David freezes, peering at the screen.
How's he doing it?
Huh? What answers? What do you see, Ava? Back to the drawing board. Okay, yeah, it's terrified look at the screen and no explanation. The noise pouring out of the speakers absorbs all his sounds, but it isn't hissing, crackling, or howling anymore, it's knocking. First it's monotonous, but the sound soon speeds up. It belts her eardrums like an old alarm clock mercilessly rattling every morning. Eva shakes her head to drive away nightmarish vision and rubs her face with her palms. The knocking is still there. And Eva knows what's making it. It's a branch from the old hazel tree her father's been threatening to cut down for 2 years. Must have only gotten its gnarled fingers caught on the windowsill. It scratches the window every time the wind blows. But today, a true storm is raging outside. Rain lashes the window, covering it in dirty spots as a hurricane-like gusts shake the hazel tree like a school bully shaking down a junior. She, as David checks her bedroom. A nightmare on Rose Street. Everything looks as usual here. The table and the shelves are perfectly arranged, the bed carefully made, even the posters are still hanging in a strict line, as if in an art exhibit. Ava loves it when everything's in place, whenever her mother's overwhelmed at work, and Ava and her father are left responsible for cleaning the house. The less you let her, the less you have to clean. A Tillandsia flower. Looks like it sprang straight out of the pages of a fairy tale. Fan gave it to her mother at an exhibition, and it's growing in a pot Ashley had made during an extracurricular pottery workshop. Pot isn't the best, but Ava will never swap it out for another one. The book Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. Ava adored it as a kid, now she's rereading it to her younger brother. Family photograph. It was taken the day Ava had gotten her first braces. Tony was tiny back then, and their parents looked happy. Her mother wasn't absorbed in her art career yet. Back then, she cared about her family more than canvases and paint. VHS collection. There's a light mystery in the first row. Binder of the slashers. The third row is reserved for Italian horror movies, marked with a strange word. Giallo. And everything else, hidden in a Cinderella case, the creepy movie Necromancer is waiting for its time to shine. It's better if her mother doesn't know about that one. Oh, there we go. Wait.
Tony?
Brother's standing by the door, shooting from one foot to the other, on a thick cardboard cup with a string snaked at the bottom. The string writhes on the floor and crawls through the hallway. His long-sleeved shirt with a pink dinosaur on it was Dad's gift for him last Christmas. Since then, Tony takes it off only at bedtime and for laundry. Lately, Ava's brother looks a little confused, so he's only wandered into Ava's room by accident after getting lost in his own home. His big eyes hold a strange expression she can't quite explain or describe. No matter how much she talks to him, words are never enough. Yet when all the most important questions are answered, Tony just comes up with new ones.
I fixed her thread. String telephone. Here. Yesterday I could barely hear anything.
Ava takes the cup and puts it on her nightstand.
It's time to go to bed, baby. When you're all set, pull the string twice and I'll read some bedtime stories for you.
That's cute. She pulls his hair and he happily runs back to his bedroom. They often talk to each other before bedtime because Tony isn't used to falling asleep alone. She has to chat with him, read magical stories, retell movies and comic plots until he starts snoring. The string slowly tightens and lifts up from the floor, which means Tony is already in bed and ready to listen. Ava put the cup to her ear. She heard familiar creaks and rustles from the other side.
Can you hear me, Tony?
Loud and clear. I fell asleep today. By myself. Well, I almost did, but then a huge storm hit. Thunder. And something creaked in the closet, so
Did you investigate, Tony? He doesn't finish. He's ashamed of his childish behavior, though he does his best to look brave for Ava. But blaming him for his fears would be foolish. Of course, kids are scared when a storm is raging and thunder is crashing right outside, especially if their room is dark and windowless. Windowless for a kid is insane. It's easier for Ava. As a child, she learned to befriend her fears. She often left a bowl of milk or a handful of candy out in case a monster was lurking under her bed. That's not a monster anymore, but a little buddy rustling candy wrappers in the middle of the night. Tony isn't the same as her, though, and she has to accept that.
Then close your eyes and listen. I made up a new story.
Surrounded by routine, she wants to calm Tony down the way she used to wish her father sweet dreams, to leave a croissant for her mother in the kitchen so that she'll remember not to drink milk or coffee on an empty stomach.
What's the story about? Is it scary? I don't really want to hear a scary story today.
No, it's a legend about a magical arcade machine that teleports brave and obedient kids into its world of adventures.
For some reason, amid the whirlwind of thoughts and images racing through her mind, she chooses an arcade machine, or rather, it chooses itself. As if it were alive, it appears in her mind's eye, in all its beauty, that black, oily luster and 2 scarlet buttons. But she can't present it to Tony as is. It needs to be wrapped in something bigger, lighter, and more mysterious. Baby brother sighs with excitement.
It must be dangerous there. There are lots of monsters in games.
It is weird how much killing is considered to be normal in games, but that's also, like, kind of normal. Because when you get rid of things, usually they die. It's interesting to say the least. Not a bad thing, just interesting.
It's an adventure. It wouldn't be an adventure without monsters.
That morning, someone opens the door. String falls limp. Eva drops the cup and gasps. Her mother enters the room, tired, disheveled, and soaked in the odor of solvent paints and coffee. Perhaps she's worked too long again, and remembered that she missed dinner only after her dizziness and lower back pain reared up. She always complains about that to Ava's father.
Didn't hear you come home. Why are you up so late?
She glances at the cup rolling on the floor. Ava's mother can scarcely understand what her children are up to. What's all the late night storytelling for? Why can't Tony just go to bed and fall asleep? She's shocked every time one of them outgrows last year's clothes. Even now, surprise lights up her reddened eyes.
Chatting with Tony again? He needs to learn to fall asleep on his own. Tell him to brush his teeth and go to bed right now. At least that will put these toys to good use.
Of course, Mom. Tony's almost asleep. Oh, today was so long, but cool. We cleaned up the chemistry room, then we went to the arcade center, and then I came back home.
He stops abruptly. Something's missing. Something crucial. But she can't remember. And judging by her wandering gaze, her mother still hasn't returned from the world of images, shades, and episodes of other people's lives, all captured on canvas.
You know what? You're right. Tony ought to fall asleep without my chatter tonight. Good night, Mom.
She doesn't even get a smile in return. It's as if her mother's emotions have been drained out of her like water from a shattered vase. Perhaps they've settled on her canvases instead, leaving out a single drop for her life. Year after year, her work has devoured her, turning her into a completely different person.
Good night, darling. I think I'm gonna have a cup of milk and go to bed, too.
Mom going to bed? No, not her.
The fuck was that? Ava knows her mother will go back into the workshop soon. She won't fall asleep until dawn, completely exhausted, next to her easel. When her mother closes the door behind her, Ava picks the cardboard phone up and hangs it on the hook. Her dad's screwed into the wall specifically to hold it. Cobb hardly ever touches Ava's hands when the string tightens again.
Tony, go to bed. Mom just came and scolded us for chatting.
You promised me a story about an arcade machine.
On a stormy night, that is kind of fucked up. It looks like that's his ace, but I think it's an F, so F. Ava suddenly feels so exhausted that she can't fathom making up even the simplest story, not even another yarn about the brave veggie kingdom she's stuffed in his ears with since childhood to teach him to love healthy food. So she's inherited part of her mother's fatigue. Ava's eyes water from drowsiness and her legs go weak. Ava doesn't want to upset Tony, but it really is late. They should have been in bed long ago. There's no better weather for curling up under a warm, cozy blanket. But Tony isn't about to let it go that fast. For him, it isn't just rain or lightning outside, it's bloodthirsty creatures lurking beyond the walls. And only Ava's voice can keep their shadows from seeping through the air vents on the cracks in the plaster.
Go to bed, little one. I'll come up with 2 adventures for you tomorrow, I promise.
Now that is an expectation. Tony wants to protest, but the offer is too tempting. Sometimes he begs her to make up new stories about his favorite characters, but he mostly listens. 2 whole stories waiting for him the next night. That feels like a fair trade for one night's peace. Besides, the thunder has already stopped splitting the sky, and now only the rain is rustling softly against the roof and grass outside.
Okay.
Sweet dreams.
She puts the cup away, her eyelids seem insanely heavy, but strange thoughts still occupy her mind. Not even bothering to put on her pajamas, Ava collapses onto her bed and presses her cheek against the pillow. Today really was long and hard. So much happened. The outburst in the chemistry class, cleaning, walking along Riverwood Park with her friends, shopping square in the arcade center.
But what was next?
Seems that VHS tape had a lot more to do with her mind than he thought it did. There's a blank space in her memory between the arcade center and coming back home. Fragments of phrases, memory, beeping music, flickering light, and clouding it all, black and white haze. The lethargy evaporates. Ava rolls onto her back and stares at the ceiling. Something else definitely happened. Her memory keeps slipping away, getting lost. Something important happened at the arcade center. It's clinging to her and her friends like a parasite, stubbornly pulling them into the darkness engulfing Riverwood. Across the old town had been keeping the secrets of many generations. The ghosts of the ancient church Ava's grandmother told her about, the cursed coin, the bodies buried in the foundation of the town hall. Those are just legends. No evidence of them has ever been found. She just needs to remember how she, Ashley, Brian, and Michael stepped into the arcade center, and then she hears a silent rustle next to her. The makeshift phone is crawling along the nightstand. Ava just manages to catch it before it falls. She quickly presses the cup to her lips.
Tony, you're still awake?
That would fuck with me. A sickening, ear-splitting screech is the only response. Astonished, Ava can hardly suppress her scream. Sounds just like the electric timer in the art workshop attic. Her mom set it up so the jarring sound would distract her from her work every 3 hours. Reminds her that there are other people living in the house who she would spend time with. But why was that shriek next to her baby brother? She doubts Tony took the timer to his room. Ava hurries into his room to check on him. The bed is empty. Ava throws up her hands. Tony rarely leaves his room at night. He always leaves a cup of water and milk on his nightstand before bed so he won't have to go to the kitchen. He would have passed Ava's room if he'd gone to the bathroom. Nothing else, she definitely should have heard his footsteps. There's only one place where Tony and her mom's alarm clock could be at the same time. It isn't something he normally does, but she can't think of a better explanation.
What a silly boy. Why did you go to the workshop?
And how did that cup follow?
He should know better. He'll have bad dreams if he looks at Mom's paintings.
No shit. They can influence even an adult's mind so terribly that there's always a nurse on standby at her exhibitions, ready to tend to the most impressionable visitors. Thought of what Tony might see there horrifies Ava. She remembers how Ashley tossed and turned, unable to sleep after visiting the workshop during a sleepover. How she had complained about nightmares afterward. If her brother sees those paintings, she'll be up all night distracting him from anxious thoughts. As for the next day, not even 2 stories would be enough.
Tony, what's up with the radio silence?
Not a single sound's come from the other side of the toy phone. Ava doesn't like it when her mom scolds her. She likes it even less when the one being scolded is Tony. Her brother is 110% going to be punished for going into Mom's workshop without permission. Ava creeps into the hall and peers around carefully. Only now does she notice that the string leads towards the attic entryway. It's hard to discern on her first try as it's lying right in line with the baseboard. Ava timidly passes her parents' bedroom and hesitates by the stairs leading up to the second floor. Even there, a few of her mom's paintings, unpleasant to look at in the dim light, are hung on the walls. Ava is used to them, but Tony still rushes past the hall, sometimes even shutting his eyes tight. Yeah, this inside a house is a bit fucked up. Like, I personally like more cosmic horror and just general things similar to that, where it's just big things unimaginable or like mind-breaking because of just how psychologically breaking that would be to encounter such a thing. But I still want to hang those up in like an area where most people would need to walk through. Their father's been planning to take them down or move them somewhere else, but doesn't want to upset his wife. He has no idea how to bring it up, so the image of a woman pressing her palms to her face is still staring into the corridor with wide eyes. A black silhouette flits on the left side of the stairs. Ava presses the cup to her lips and whispers,
Tony, go downstairs while Mom's in the kitchen. Alright, I'm coming up, but if Mom catches us both, I'll get in trouble first, and I'll have every right to be mad at you, Tony. Who knows? Maybe you won't be getting an ice cream this weekend.
Ooh, no, that's a threat. She smiles and walks upstairs. It's really hard to stay angry at her little brother. All over the stairs are slinkies of all colors. Tony is always playing with them on the stairs, racing them and setting them up like they're contestants. Rabbit Mo, a stitched up teddy bear named Pig, and a shapeless stuffed owl Ava bought at an autumn fair. Whichever slinky wins spends the night in Tony's bed as a reward. But Tony usually carefully cleans up after himself every night and puts the slinkies back into their signed boxes. The mess he's left tonight is completely inexplicable. Tony isn't on the stairs. The phone's string is laced through the gap under the door at the top. He switches the light on. A twisted light fixture flashes on, illuminating the workshop door and the sign hung on it. Description: keep out, nosy. Smiley face. Words are written with an extremely beautiful script. Her mother's handwriting. Funny sketch of a 3-headed dog guards the door. Cerberus. Ava painted that hellhound 2 years ago when she was into Greek mythology. Her mother was delighted that her daughter liked painting too, but it was Ava's last drawing. That's fucking cool. Door opens with ease, letting Ava into a short, narrow hallway. Her mother was usually scolding kids for coming in without permission. Ava had a rare chance to see new and failed works. It wasn't the kind of rule Ava's tempted to break. The older she gets, the less she cares about her mom's paintings. This isn't the framed nightmare she wants to see, but the person who creates them. Paintings make a lasting impression on everyone. Some are enchanting, others are frightening. Mom mostly paints people, or to be more precise, their emotions. Ava prefers painting of fairies, magic, and fantasies, or ordinary photographs. At least that kind of art doesn't make Ava wonder why an orphan who's just been taken in by a family is crying amid their adoptive parents' shared joy. Why the wife of an unlucky worker is sad when he wins a considerable sum in the lottery. Taking a breath, Ava heads deeper into the workshop. The darkness thickens, feels dense and sticky like sweet jelly. With every moment that passes, it feels more distinct on the skin, tangling in her hair and staining her blouse in patches. This is really fucking cool. I really like these paintings. Light switch is right next to a painting depicting hunger. She reaches for the switch, but thinks about touching the cold, sallow skin of the dying girl in the picture. Meanwhile, a self-portrait of her mother, who looks more like a shriveled-up corpse than herself, rears back as she's about to sink in her loose teeth into Ava's fingers. Don't really have another choice, do I? Turn on the light. The lamp flicker frantically, choked by the darkness. Dad promised to fix the wiring a month ago, but so far he's only opened the breaker panel.
Timing.
Ava mumbles aloud just to hear the reassuring sound of her own voice and to attract Tony's attention. Though her brother isn't naughty, sometimes he hides and waits for someone to find him, but only ever in his bedroom or Ava's.
Why in the world did he go to the workshop this late?
Because he wants to scare the shit out of himself. Ava begins to coil a string around her hand. About it's all just a dumb prank or a silly childish game shields her from the darkest thoughts, and everything feels strange, wrong, something like she's used to. She wants the game to end with a cry of boo from around the corner.
Tony must have hidden behind some old canvases or the curtain. There's nowhere else to hide in here, so finding him will be a piece of cake.
There are some paintings in this one. In the darkness, she trips over one of the paintings.
Damn it!
Overcoming her unease, Ava realizes she's angry. At Tony, at Dad, at Mom, the house. That wretched workshop where he came and take a single step without tripping over some nightmare. It's like the frames are old canvases and the stools are throwing themselves under her feet on purpose. Oh cool, we're actually going to go through these. The Nameless, an unfinished work, a happy woman is carrying a puppy wrapped in sheets. In the Void, depicts a broken woman who lost her baby in childbirth. The heartbroken mother is sunk to the floor. Wrapping her arms around her stomach, a pool of blood is spreading beneath her. Such works are especially successful at exhibits. Once her mother even took her art to a personal show in Indianapolis. And that's why she's been painting more and more. The sadness, pain, and tragedy of an ordinary person resonates the most with her audience. The Old Fisherman. It's a silhouette of an old man on a pier. If you look closely, you can see that he has neither fishing rods nor other gear. Only a single knife. Water around the old man's feet, dispersing into the lake, has a crimson hue. Fish have fed his family for years. Maybe he's decided to return the favor. Suddenly, Ava realizes there's something wrong with the paintings. Oh, they just shifted. That's what hasn't, though. Her mother usually paints people's features and facial expressions in intricate detail to convey the most valuable aspects of her art, emotions. But now the paintings are a mess of paint instead of faces. They've been ruined by smearing them with wet palms.
Tony, you better come out! This isn't funny. Both of us are gonna be punished if Mom...
The string coiled up around Ava's hand tightens.
That's better. Now to see where it leads.
The family of four standing in front of a car that looks like it's driving on the highway is insane. I think that's really fucking... I like that one a lot. Hear no evil in the person standing in front of them tormenting them. And then body dysmorphia. These are actually really cool paintings. Ava slowly paces through the workshop, feeling the pervasive blackness on her skin. Nameless, unfinished, and spoiled paintings stare at her in the corners. Walls, hooks, and sloping shelves like abandoned children. Somehow the disfigured faces are visible even in the gloom. As if Mom's added the phosphorus to the paint. Seeing all those flickering silhouettes creeps Ava out. Fear crawls under her skin like hundreds of insects. Bites into her bones with its icy teeth and sucks out the heat. For a split second, a flash of lightning illuminates the room. Ava falls on the floor in shock. What she sees defies any logical explanation. The string vibrating with tension leads directly into a thick darkness clad in a gilded frame like a pool of dark water swallowing the toy. It stands in the very center of the room, though Ava could swear it isn't there a moment ago. It wasn't there a moment ago. It was like an unfinished paintings on the shelves are closing in. The painted figures patiently staring at her. This one up here looks... Oh, that's another face right there. The eye, nose, and the mouth. The string twitches and squirms in her grip, kind of harder to hold with every second. Ava struggles to breathe. Fear floods her body, tightening around her limbs and tangling her thoughts. She hesitantly raises her eyes and looks deep into the inky black painting. Instantly, a wave of cold air washes over her, and a spray of the tiniest droplets on her face. A bitter, biting wind blows from the bottomless canvas, its gusts carrying icy drizzle. Painting absorbs the light cast from the window. She stares in horror as her hand, as the ill-fitted string cuts into it. For a second, she's tempted to get rid of it and chop it off with a knife. What if it's the last thread connecting her to Tony? She dares not approach the painting. Doubts bombard her as a sticky fear muddles her mind. The dumb thing is to stay. The smart thing would be to try and run, but I'm gonna stay. Are you sure you stayed in the workshop? Ava gently pulls on the cup. On the other side of the painting, someone or something pulls the string frantically in response, a plea for help, defenseless, for an unknown threat. Despair saturates every movement. Once she's promised to protect Tony from any danger, real or imaginary, and until tonight she's never broken that vow, and Tony promised never to let anything happen to Ava either once he grows up. As you can't see or hear him, her thoughts reach out to him, to the happiest moments together. More memories of Tony's childhood pop into her head, shielding Ava from impending madness. Their ecstatic father announces that she's going to have a little brother. Ava thoroughly prepares for his appearance, arranging bouquets of wildflowers and cutting out cardboard stars and rabbits. Before going to bed, she dreams of how they'll reward the never-ending story together. They'll be arriving joyful and bright as if from a fairy tale world. He laughs in his cradle. Looking at his sister, he sticks his hand out and grabs Ava's, his tiny palm clutching her fingers surprisingly tightly. Playing together among loose snowdrifts magically driven in on Christmas Eve, Tony tires quickly and constantly falls, his blue boots lifting him into the sky. He whimpers, but Ava picks him up and carries him on her shoulders. He laughs and hugs her with warm palms. Now amid the nightmare that's desecrated their home, Ava silently begs Tony to grasp the string as tightly as he used to squeeze her fingers and never let go. In return, she swears she'll give him 100 slinkies of every color of the rainbow, mountains of lollipops, clouds of cotton candy which Mom forbids him from eating. Anything to keep Tony's fingers tight. Groaning, Ava yanks on the string. The painting replies with another gust of icy wind and splatter of drizzle that covers the workshop floor with dirty marks as if water but paint. Droplets fly in all directions, staining the neighboring paintings and sketches. When a few splashes hit the canvas, the painting comes to life and begins to change. The young and the old, men and women, all already frozen in unimaginable poses, are losing their natural appearance, their arms growing longer, their joints contort their fingers. The legs bend in the wrong direction as if they're locusts in the faces. What was a shapeless mess a moment ago is now morphing into mutilated features. They look like careless sketches, distorting the emotions Ava's mother intended to depict, revealing them from another, fiercely invisible angle. Ava tugs the string hard. She puts everything into it, her desperation, love, and fury at the nightmare swallowing their home into its bubbling depths. Whatever lurks on the other side of that canvas, it will not take her baby brother. She has always protected him, always saved him from nightmares. She's not about to let anyone hurt him now. No matter what monsters, real or unreal, come crawling out. Your mother's collection of black pearls surrenders. The disfigured people in the painting curiously observe what's happening, perhaps even delighting in her struggle. Ava's afraid that if she looks back, she'll lose her mind. Oh, it's really coming out now. That's fucked up. This one just looks like it's afraid. She takes one step forward, then another. The unworldly wind gusts make her sway, dousing her in the pungent stench of paint and solvents. Knocks the wind out of her. Her heart almost stops, skipping a few beats before hammering against her chest once again. Her shirt is soaking wet, growing tight and uncomfortable. Sweat pours off her face and freezes her cheeks.
No, don't look. Turn away. Go away.
But Ava doesn't listen to her inner voice. Slowly, as if stuck in resin, she waits the congealed air towards the painting in the gilded frame. The string in her fingers turns sticky and viscous, soaked in the glossy liquid. Pull. Something heavy attached to the opposite end slips across the floor. Ava's mind wails and begs her to turn away and run, to shield herself at the door, but she just can't. The mysterious catch inches closer. Her fingers touch something soft, wet. Strands of the disturbing substance cling to her hands. Hair. It's heavily smeared with scarlet. A puddle of stunningly rich red begins to spread across the floor, almost flaming in the dark. Oh? Ava collapses to her knees and wraps her arms around the decapitated head of the kindest and most innocent human she has ever known. The toy phone's string hangs down, hooked in the crevices of his vertebrae. Looks like someone had ripped off the head of his body as easily as tearing the cap off a ballpoint pen. Tony's eyes are cloudy and empty as a fish's. His mouth is frozen in a death wail. Black blood oozes from his nostrils. It's unimaginable, cruel, unfair. No world can be so brutal as to let something like this happen, not even in the stories. Not with Tony. Not with her baby brother.
No way.
She sways, feeling neither the cold nor the droplets drizzling out from the painting in the gilded frame.
It's hypnosis, hallucinations, blood, witchcraft, or someone's imagination. Thorium intent.
Eva suddenly realizes that a painting of her sitting in the middle of the studio and cradling Tony's head would look great in her mother's new collection. Tragedy and pain, fear and tears. People would be glad to buy it, showering the artist with praise. They would rapturously stare at Ava's lips contorted with grief, her eyes wet with tears, her gnarled fingers frozen on Tony's mutilated flesh. They would admire her expression warped with torment and tension so great that she felt like a weary old woman trapped in a child's body. The horror that thought evokes is sobering.
I can't just sit back and wait for another terrible thing to happen so that I won't be able to change or forget it. I have to get away, run, save myself and our parents.
Many of the heroes that inspire Ava so much had tough challenges. It always seems impossible to defeat hordes of creepy creatures, escape an insidious trap, or cheat death. But if you don't retreat or give up, if you make progress towards your goal, no one can. A flash of lightning floods the room, followed by shuddering thunderclap. The reality is a lot different from fictional stories. No matter how good or full of morals they are, the fear is different. It's possible to hide from it by simply closing the door or turning the TV off. The paintings come to life. The characters liberate themselves from the captivity of canvases and frames. The paint transforms into skin and flesh. Subjects looks almost like people. All except for the distorted proportions, some becoming even more deformed. But the worst part is the unfinished paintings with the inhabitants still capable of moving. They crawled out, jump like toads, hobble forward on stick-straight legs. Black heads and limbs, the sketches turn into awful wounds, bloodless and dry. Barely moving, Ava takes one last look at her brother's head.
I'm sorry.
It's real.
My little boy. I can't stay with you anymore. I'm so sorry.
Let's carry it with you. Ava drops the head and slowly gets to her feet. The painting in the gilded frame now reaches all the way to the ceiling. The wind and splashes of thick blackness of sea sloshing out of it. Instead, brushstrokes start materializing amid the inky and impenetrable abyss. Crimson and gray, a little white, green, and buckets of red. Ava steps back. She knows exactly who will be in this painting.
Don't you dare. Whoever you are, don't you dare.
But the invisible artist is unstoppable. It relishes in its power. Shazam, Ava, and her unlucky brother's lives are more worthless than oil paint. It will finish, wipe the brush clean, and forget all about the miserable siblings. Just a little time and a dozen heartbeats seem to have come by. The canvas revealed a small, headless, skinny body, tightened into dirty pajamas. Dead Tony in the middle of the workshop. But he isn't centered. It's missing a detail. Next to him, there's just enough space for one 14-year-old girl. Maybe she'll be mourning, But she'll be a bloated corpse, unable to escape the workshop alive. Ooh, hello. The instant last stroke dries, the disfigured body is turned to Ava. She can't see their faces or eyes, but she knows they're looking at her. The bodies lurch forward to her, to bury her face forever in a coffin of canvases and paint. Ava shrieks so loudly that her cries should wake not only her parents but the neighbors as well. The house only answers with silence. The girl rushes to the workshop door, but it's jammed shut and the handle won't budge. Push down the handle. Shadows slither closer. They don't make a noise. But from her periphery, Ava can see a revolting crowd of revived characters. They're in no rush. They know Ava has nowhere to run. And it's their home. Their exhibit. Sooner or later, the magnum opus will be complete. Push down the handle harder. The door surrenders and slams into the wall behind it. Ava flies downstairs and pauses in the hall, sucking in a deep breath. The world in her eyes ripples and fades away as if distorted by television static.
Daddy!
The scream sinks into the emptiness of the house like a stone falling into a deep well. No echo, no response, not even a ripple, only a deathly silence.
Help me, Dad!
Walls devour every word.
Dad's sleeping too deep. Otherwise, he'd definitely hear me. And Mom, she must have fallen asleep by the coffee pot.
The human ability to rationalize any situation for why something may be happening is something that I don't know how to describe, but that has to be a phenomenon. Ava clenches her fist helplessly. There's no time, but nothing is enough to wake her parents. The thought of being embraced... I love how everything's slowly happening on this wall, not this guy here yet. The thought of being embraced by the very arms that painted all those horrors makes her stomach churn. Ava suspects her mother is gifted with some kind of supernatural power. The kind that leads people to unknown paths, to where nightmares live. It's where only prophets and ancient witches dared tread. Now earlier she would have never believed it, but after what she's witnessed in the workshop. Seeking inspiration, her mother has found something forbidden and let it loose. Ava can't convince herself it was an accident.
Must be in the kitchen. Otherwise, I would have already run into her here or in the workshop. I'll have to wake her up first, and then together we can...
Something clatters on the stairs. I think I see what that something is. It's right there. And I think its face is upside down. Sensing their prey escape and the human-like beasts speed up. The first is crawling downstairs, leaning against the wall with hacked-off limbs. One glimpse of the monstrosity is enough to forget any exhaustion, panting, or headache. Ava rushes towards her parents' bedroom. In the dimness, she trips, all but smashes her nose. But the pain of falling is the least of her concerns. Just like she did after watching horror movies or creepy cartoons as a child, she rushes through the dark hall into her parents' bedroom. Nowhere in the world was safer than their bed. Laughing, her father would build a cozy pillow fort where she could hide from any ghost or critter. Dad was always there for them, helping them as much as he could until work swallowed him whole. Ava and Ashley wanted a treehouse, and Dad never asked why. He just needed to know what they wanted it to look like and where to bring the boards. The kids wanted to go on a trip to the farm by the lake. He helped them pack, bought them snacks, and reminded them to stay away from the water. You gave Brian a homemade baseball bat and a knowing wink. Dad's never lied to her or let her down. She's always been able to count on him.
Somewhere. He's strong. He'll protect me. He'll fight them off.
Ava, I don't think your father's going to be able to go against Lovecraftian horrors. But if he had a gun, how doesn't matter. She wants to snuggle up to someone close, warm, alive. Someone without that otherworldly stench.
He must be somewhere here. Even if Mom's still sitting in the kitchen, he's definitely catching Z's now because he gets up for work at 5 a.m. Dad? Where are you?
Ava grabs the bed and pulls herself up. But in her haste, she's forgotten that the workshop is not the only place her mother hangs her paintings. The bedroom is decorated with luxurious canvases, some Central European weirdo once ordered and even partially paid for. As a kid, when Ava was still slightly interested in art, she used to love sitting in her dad's armchair and gazing at that painting. In it, an aristocratic family competing in the sophistication of their wigs and brightness of their makeup are gathered around a long table ready to eat. Well, they're supposed to anyways. But Mom viewed that feast a little differently. The men and women sit gloomily at an empty table. A huge plate lies before them, devoid of anything but a handful of wheat, spattered with blood. A big picture window in the background reveals a view of scorched fields, the blackened remains of the burnt houses, and the peasants' broken mills. Ava didn't really know what the client was looking for, but he had certainly been unhappy with the way her mother had depicted his family. That's why the picture was even more insulting details now, like a servant wielding a log to fight off a pair of fat rats. Compared to her mother's other works, Ava likes this one, but today... Dangling out of the canvas are her father's legs, floundering in a pathetic attempt to escape captivity. Lunging forward, Ava grabs her father's shins, but that split second of hesitation is just enough for the painting to completely swallow the strong man. Pain turns hazy, then mutates. Now the aristocrats' faces shine with delight. They hog-tied him and baked him. On the table, nauseously seared and shrouded in baked crust, lies Ava's father. Fits perfectly on the enormous plate. The head of the family is sharpening a knife, and the guests leer at the cannibalistic feast, clutching exquisite forks with plump fingers. Even the rats wait under the table, hoping to grab a scrap or two. The air is awash with sickening odor of paint, solvent, and barbecue. Ava grimaces in terror. She wants to howl, groan, call for help, but she can only spit out unintelligible sounds like a sheep trying to bleed after its throat has been slashed open. Everything precious to her has disappeared into a damn nightmare. Oh, her brothers laugh. Weekend walks with Mom and Dad, the comfortable home with her parents devoted years to creating. Pains have taken all that away. What's happened to them? What bloody backwoods has her mother's talent led her to? After all, she painted them. She put a piece of her soul in each one of them. She liked telling her audience at exhibitions. The very idea hurts. Worse yet, Ava doesn't even want to see her mother's aunt. The very idea hurts. Worse yet, Ava doesn't even want to see her mother anymore. She can't bring herself to run to the kitchen and tell her what's happened. It makes no sense. Her mother made her choice, and that choice killed Dad and Tony. If Ava doesn't escape and tell someone, she'll be next. She has to, even the people think she's crazy. She doesn't care.
To live in a world of madness and cruelty. There's no saving her. You chose the company of your paintings. You love them harder than your own kids. So stay with them. Forever. To the front door. Now.
Oh, so she's gonna leave her mom behind. The keys are always hanging on a decorative key holder her father made at work. It's an exact replica of their house, made with love and attention to every detail. But now the keys are nowhere to be found. They were not on the dressing room shelves, the phone table, or under the rug. Desperate, Ava kicks the damn door. Last barrier between life and death. The door feels like a solid brick wall. Dad put so much time and effort into making it strong and sturdy to protect his family from anything outside. Couldn't have imagined that the real danger would come from within. Now that very same door is sealing Ava inside a house of nightmares.
No. Am I never gonna get out of here?
This has to be the game show that Tape was talking about. It's a thing where all her friends have to watch her try to escape, and then I'm guessing it's going to go through each one of them. She looks around, helplessly searching for another escape route. Suddenly her gaze lands on the most useless thing in their house. The dog door. Ava had always dreamed of having as many pets as possible, but since her parents' death, all the tears she'd shed from it, her parents have been afraid to bring her new pets home. But last year, after Ava ranked among the top 5 students in her class, instead of giving her a gift, her father cut out this pet door. And that soon.
Tony always gets in and out easily when he's pretending to be a dog. If he can do it, I can too.
Ava, I'm not sure you can. Why did it get blurry? Ava drops to her knees and crawls to the door. It's hard to squeeze. Oh, it's hard to squeeze her whole body in. So she puts her right hand through and pushes with her legs.
Just a bit farther now.
That's exactly how you get stuck. The smell of rain-soaked soil and pavement hit her nose. The rain restlessly lashes against the porch. The roof of the car parked by the garage. gathering in murky torrents in the gutters. The air feels damp and clean. No trace of the workshop's suffocating stench. Even the night seems surprisingly bright. Paintings and painted monsters have no place outside. If they dare follow her, surely the rain will finish them off, dissolving them and smashing them against the pavement. She's no more than a foot away from salvation when she feels a vile touch. Something wet, sticky, and hot. The air fills with a suffocating smell of paint and solvent, but they're quickly blotted out by the reek of a large, sweaty body. Oh, I clicked too early. I'll finish that real quick. The monster's grasp holds Ava firmly in place, not permitting her to move so much as an inch forward. She clings to the half-open dog door and spins around. What the fuck is that? In the brightness of a streetlight, she faces a formless darkness. Before her eyes, the darkness splinters into pieces. She'd rather go blind than see this nightmare come to life. The hallway resembles a black hole, hollowed out by a massive larva. Inside, something heavy wheezes and trudges closer until finally, Ava discerns the horrifying figure. A gelatinous fat body trembles in the darkness. It's hard to guess what the creature used to be. Now it's hideously swollen. The chef's apron covering in its stomach is all but bursting. Gnarled arms spout from the pallid flesh on its back. Like a toad, the bottomless mouth spills out a long tongue which coils around Ava's wrist. Letting out a strangled sob, Ava tries to free her hand. But the tongue won't let go. It bites into her skin, sucking on it with a horrible gnawing sound. The fat monster shudders and drools lustfully. Ava yanks her hand again. For a moment it seems like the monster's grip had loosened. Her muscles ache from the strain and her fingers hurt, but she keeps fighting. Get ready. What does that mean? Up, okay. Down. Down. Oh, okay. Left. Up. Okay, you have to use arrow keys for this. No, I hit up. Press the wrong button slash... What? No, I didn't do that at all! I hit WASD. I assumed that would be it. Just as the monster's tongue seems like it was about to slip away, it clamps onto her skin even harder. Fingers swell and rapidly turn red. Choked with horror, Ava can resist no longer. His tongue turns as tight and unbreakable as steel rope. He snaps his head back in a movement so powerful that she feels her shoulder blades crack. Pain penetrates every joint. Oh, Ava skids across the floor, weakening and losing her will to fight. Dog flap is well beyond her reach. Escape is impossible. The world falls away into a beast's gurgling maw. Ava drops in right after it. Death cry echoes around the house. Last noise she'll ever make. Well, fuck. Art demands sacrifice. You killed Ava. Fuck, man. What the fuck was I supposed to do? I clicked the right buttons. I clicked WSD. I got the right ways. It just didn't work. Oh, that was... Okay, I will say that was really cool, though. I always love the idea of art coming alive and going after the people that made it. But fuck, man. Well, like... I'm so upset by that. I'm gonna have to pay more attention to what they're expecting of me. I didn't expect the arrow keys to be the only way to do things. Or how many I can get wrong, I guess. Well, I was correct in the way that they're both just... Or not both, but they're all staring at the TV. I didn't actually expect them to die, though. I really hope the other characters don't react poorly to that. Or maybe she'll come back alive? I doubt it, though. Hey, that's me! Oh my god, I am very happy with this, though. I'm gonna have to play again and not kill her. Maybe I'll do that, you know? If you guys like it, you guys should go play it and get the other endings, too. I myself am going to do so on my own time. But we're gonna make sure that this is a save that we stick with. I can't do a new game. I don't think it will continue if I do let it do that, you know? Oh, I could save? How the fuck wait, what? Oh, that's so fucked. That's probably what the book with the little feather thing on it was for. God damn it. Well, I could theoretically skip the dialogue now. It should go a lot faster that way. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.